3 years ago, I made a mistake that shattered my marriage. I cheated on my husband. It wasn't planned. It wasn't calculated. It was a stupid, reckless moment of weakness, and I lost everything because of it. I confessed immediately. He had already started suspecting something, and I couldn't stand the weight of my own guilt. I begged for forgiveness, swore it would never happen again, and promised to do anything to make it right. I meant every word, but from that day forward, my life became something I never expected, something I never agreed to. At first, I understood. He was hurt, betrayed. I expected anger. I expected sadness. What I didn't expect was complete and utter control. It started with little things wanting to know where I was, checking in more often, asking about my day in excruciating detail. I told myself it was normal. I had destroyed his trust, and this was the price of rebuilding it. Then came the rules. No going out without him. No solo trips to the grocery store. No meeting friends unless he knew exactly who would be there and approved of them. At first I complied. I had hurt him. I owed him patience. I owed him reassurance. But reassurance was never enough. He installed tracking software on my phone. Every call, every text, every social media interaction, he monitored them all. If I went anywhere, he needed a time-stamped photo. He checked receipts to make sure my purchases matched the places I said I had been. At first, I thought it was temporary, a phase, a coping mechanism. But months passed, and nothing changed. A year went by, then 2, now 3. I live in a world where my every movement is watched. I have no privacy, no independence, no space to breathe. I don't even have the right to feel frustrated because whenever I try to talk about it, he reminds me, I wouldn't have to do this if you hadn't betrayed me. I have told myself over and over that I deserve this, that this is my penance for breaking his heart. But deep down, I know the truth. This isn't about healing anymore. It's about control. And I can't take it anymore. The turning point came last week. I was in the kitchen, making dinner, when my phone buzzed. It was an old coworker, a man, just a casual message about an upcoming work event. But my husband saw. He ripped the phone out of my hand and read the message, his face twisted with fury. Who the hell is this? He demanded. A colleague, I said, as calmly as I could. It's just about work, but reason didn't matter. He was already spiraling, convinced I was lying, cheating again, betraying him. His voice rose. He called me every name he could think of. He grabbed my wrist hard enough that would leave a mark. Something in me snapped. I yanked my arm away. Enough, I shouted. do this anymore. I can't live like a prisoner in my own home. He froze. For the first time in 3 years, he actually looked shocked. Like he hadn't realized what he was doing. Like he hadn't noticed that the love he was trying to protect had rotted into something unrecognizable. I don't know what happens next. I don't know if I can save this marriage. I don't even know if I want to. All I know is that I can't keep paying for a mistake I made 3 years ago. Because now, the biggest mistake I've ever made might just be staying.
I will be very grateful if you subscribe to our channel. 3 years ago, I did the worst thing imaginable. I betrayed the man I promised to love forever. I cheated on my husband. It wasn't planned, and I wasn't looking for it, but that doesn't excuse what I did. The guilt consumed me almost instantly, but it wasn't enough to stop me. At first, it was just an innocent flirtation, a thrill in my otherwise monotonous life. I had no idea how far it would go until I found myself in a hotel room with another man, my wedding ring still on my finger. The affair lasted 3 months before my husband Ethan started to notice the cracks. He questioned the late nights, the extra girls' nights I had never needed before, the way I pulled away from him emotionally and physically. I could see the suspicion in his eyes growing each day, and before he even had proof, I broke down and confessed. I cried, I begged, I told him it meant nothing, that I loved only him. I swore it would never happen again, and I meant it. Ethan didn't leave me. He could have. Hell, he should have. But he said he wanted to fight for us, for our marriage, for everything we had built together. I thought that was the beginning of healing. I was wrong. The past 3 years have not been about healing. They have been about control. It started small. He wanted access to my phone to feel secure, understandable. Then he wanted my passwords, every single one. I agreed because I wanted to prove I had nothing to hide. Then came the tracking app, the check-ins, the constant suffocating need to know where I was every moment of the day. If I went to the grocery store and didn't answer my phone immediately, I'd return home to an interrogation. If a male colleague so much as said hello to me at work, he'd want to know every word exchanged, every detail. At first, I accepted it. It was the price I had to pay for my betrayal. I told myself he needed time. That trust needed to be rebuilt brick by brick, but time wasn't healing anything. Instead, the walls around me just kept closing in. I lost my friends. I stopped going out. I deactivated social media because if I so much as liked a post from an old classmate, he would explode. Even my family noticed. My sister, who had always been my rock, pulled me aside one day and whispered, "This isn't trust building. This is a cage." I defended him. I always did. I heard him, I'd say, "He's just scared of losing me." But am I even me anymore? The worst part is, I don't even know when love turned into something else. I don't know when my husband stopped being my partner and started being my warden. Maybe it was the first time he showed up unannounced at my workplace to surprise me, but really, it was to check if I was actually at work. Or the first time he shut down a conversation I was having with a male friend because he felt disrespected. Or maybe it was last night, or when I told him I wanted to take a weekend trip with my sister and he laughed in my face. Why? So you can sneak off again? 3 years. How much longer am I supposed to live like this? How much longer until he forgives me if he ever truly will? How much longer until I forgive myself? Or maybe the real question is, how much longer until I finally walk away?